Hey everybody, we are live with my friend Satoshi Ochi from USTA Player Development. It's really a pleasure and an honor to have Satoshi on this session. I've had him on now for many years, and he's been so nice to give his time, whether it been live streams or the videos to help us improve our fitness. And I told the audience in a previous live session, Satoshi, that I still follow your template for how many exercises per different area of the body, and it's been really great. So definitely has been enlightening. So yeah, and if you don't know about Satoshi, he's the head strength and conditioning coach at USTA Player Development, and he's based at the USTA National Training Center, headquarters in Orlando, Florida, which beautiful place. I go there almost every year, sometimes more than once, but it's a great place to play tennis. So definitely, if you're there, stop by and get the app as well, because they have all these programs. Like I've joined the adult like 4-5 plus clinics, and they have all sorts of levels of clinics. So, but anyways, Satoshi, thank you for coming on. How are you doing?
Great. Yeah. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, anytime, Satoshi. Yeah, I really appreciate it. So I guess to start it off, I'll ask a more general question, which is, why should players focus on the fitness aspect? Whether that's strength training in the gym or at home, or movement and things. Because I think that a lot of players fall into the trap of just like all they do is they play like 3-4 times a week. Like I was talking with some friends, and I said, "Do you do any other training for tennis?" And they say, "No, I just play." And I feel like they should be doing more if they can. So what's the main importance of training outside of the court?
Yeah, sure. So I think we can I can mention about two different groups for this. One is groups I usually work with in high performance and national training center level players. Of course, that's more performance based. And today's tennis and top level going very physical. We had the Billie Jean King Cup qualifying round last week in Orlando, and the captain Lindsay Davenport was here, and we were talking about where the game's going, those kind of things, and she was definitely saying that it's getting more physical, and off-court training, strength and conditioning is almost as important, if not it's more important than the tennis practice. So that's definitely performance enhancement part of it. It's very important to do off-court training and strength and conditioning program. I can also talk to more on general public recreational players to somewhat serious players on playing the USDA league to 3-5, 4-5, whatever the level you're playing. you know that's also the performance enhancement as well, but more importantly for the injury prevention. If
Mm-hmm.
you don't taking care of your body, and if you want to play tennis longer, you need to take care of your body. If you don't, you may start having some issues. And tennis is pretty intense, and an interesting thing is you're only using one side of body most of the time, and then it's creating lots of imbalance, and front and back, right and left, upper body, lower body. You need to keep the balance on your body, on the muscular strength to mobility. So if you don't take care of it, you may gonna face into some sort of the injuries. So injury prevention is a big part of the why you need to do off-court strength and conditioning program.
Yeah, 100%. Satoshi, and I really like that. Your programs, you have some unilateral exercises, and then also you had mentioned, I think, in the workout plan that we had a couple years ago, where you wanted to do like two upper body to one, sorry, two back to one chest, just because we there's imbalance there, and we need more focus on the back for
Right.
tennis players. But yeah, I think at this point, Satoshi, I'll share the slides that you had sent me, and then we
Sure.
can go over them and talk about them. So let me get that here. And so I think we see them now. I just want to try to max. Actually, I should play the slideshow. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so awesome. Here we go. So I'll put on this slide. Maybe you can just talk about the principles, and we can maybe do some questions as well.
Yeah, this is basics of our strengths and conditioning philosophy, we are based on the six principles. And then things I already mentioned, um, the strengths, power, mobility, movement, conditioning, and coordination, and make sure we hit each principles on our strengths and conditioning programs. And this is true for everybody, recreational level players to professional players. If you're missing one principles in here, you may not gonna maximize your potential as a tennis player. Or like we've been talking about the injury prevention, and you may face to some risk of injuries. So uh, we are based on these six principles and make sure we cover each area.
Yeah, definitely. And oh, sorry if I was reflecting, but what do you think is maybe the one or two areas that club level players, talking about like maybe 3-0 to 5-0, something like that. Like, what are one or two of the areas that they are lacking in the most, would you say, out of these?
Yeah, that's a great question. What I see is that probably the mobility part of it, flexibility, range of motion. Unfortunately, as we're getting older, and if you're not taking care of the mobility part of the exercises, if you're skipping your warm up, if you're skipping cool down and stretching, your body getting just tighter and tighter. And so if you don't do that, and then again, like I said, tennis is asymmetry sports, and then creating lots of muscular imbalance. So creating the joint mobility limitation if you don't take care of it. So I would say the mobility is the biggest area recreational player tends to forget about it. And then the good news is it's very easy to take care of it. It doesn't take too much time. It doesn't take too much of equipment or anything expensive to do stretching exercises.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, we just had a live yoga workout with Sherry Cope from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern time, and that was a really great one. That covers this area of mobility. So,
Great.
um, yeah, it was really good. But I guess to follow up on that, Satoshi. So let's say you've identified like, okay, my mobility and maybe my movement, let's say, so are lacking. So in those cases, like, do you then actually build in more of those like to compensate? Like, are you doing more of that in your workout, like weekly workouts, than the other ones?
Absolutely. So we would like to create the balanced workout and balance the program. However, we do assessment, and if identify if somebody is lacking in mobility, flexibility, and then we're gonna focus on that area. If somebody is lacking on the strengths, we're gonna spend more time on the strengths development. And it depends on, for our situation, we have a junior players to professional players. If when the junior players coming in, we're gonna take care of everything and make sure we got all the foundation, and we don't have to worry about any lack of one area of principles. But as we getting older and we start identify more players needs, we will start customizing the program and make sure we are covering the area they need the most.
Yeah, great stuff. So when I'm looking at these categories, Satoshi, I think we're familiar with most of them, I'd say, but in how to train, like to some degree, obviously, we need help with experts from experts like you. But I think the coordination is an interesting one because how do we exactly train coordination? Like, I mean, yeah, it's like maybe something that not a lot of players are thinking about training.
Right. Coordinations, yeah, as you said, it's interesting one. And then the tennis itself, it's a hand-eye coordination sports, right? If you can follow the balls, and if you cannot connect the tennis ball to your tennis racket, if you cannot move to the location you need to be, it's you're done. You can't hit the tennis ball. So it's very important to develop that. And then playing tennis itself is a great coordination exercise. But anything you are as simple as doing a single leg exercise and the strength training sessions. If you are doing a mobility dynamic warm up exercise with a little bit of a coordination pattern involved, that's a coordination training already. It's that one of the area you can kind of cannot isolate too much. This is the coordination drill you need to do. It's usually the mix with something else. Interesting thing is that most of the time, especially the junior players to the developmental stages, they usually develop coordination with their daily activities or more like a playground type of activities. If you are, if you remember in the kids' time, if you're at the playground, you're just chasing each other or playing some games, throwing and kicking and monkey bars to different type of playground toys. That's always a great way to develop the coordination anyway. Unfortunately, today's kids are spending less time in the playground sometime, and the players are already specialized in tennis and they don't have other athletic skill activities. So if you are introducing to the other activities other than tennis, if you start kicking soccer balls, or if you're playing basketballs on your driveways, playing catch with your parents and your friends, that's actually great coordination exercises. It's a cross training, but it's developing a different athletic skills as and a coordination training.
Yeah, no, most definitely. I think it's fun too to cross train and you're developing coordination. Yeah. So I guess I was gonna ask this question. I don't know if I should just to get too ahead, but I mean, in terms of like you mentioned for conditioning, you say proper conditioning. So, can you kind of explain like why you said proper conditioning? I suppose it's just like any random conditioning program.
Sure. No, it's we said about conditioning, it's automatically like learning or like in long distance aerobic training, which is important. You need that. You need to have a base cardiovascular training and do kind of things. However, tennis is mix of different metabolic needs, I would say. So you need to have a good cardiovascular aerobic base. You need to have a good anaerobic capacity to explosive movement, and you have to do that type of exercises repeatedly over and over, and day in day out. And you playing, first round today and second round tomorrow. You play tournament this week, you play tournament next week. So you have to do that repeatedly and over for the extended amount of time. So developing tennis specific conditioning is more important than generally known as a conditioning or cardiovascular conditioning.
Yeah, thanks for that, Satoshi. And then with the strength and power, I mean, can you develop that like fully without weights, or is there a point that you might hit that you have to use some sort of weights, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's when we said strength training, automatically weight training. That's people's comes up in the mind, but
Right.
yeah, it is. You can do strength training, weight training. That's one of the form of strength training. But you can use your own body weight. Part of the mobility exercises, range of motion exercises, involve lots of muscular strengths. When you're doing dynamic warm up exercises and doing a full range of motion, if you haven't done anything before, that's a good body weight strength training as well. And then if you need to apply more volume to intensity to the training, yes, you may start using a machine exercise, free weights exercise, and different form of the additional uh, weights to apply more force to your body and getting stronger. Then if you got that strength base, next phase is you need to teach your body how to use those strengths. And
Mhm.
if you using that strength properly and then producing the force very rapidly faster pace, you can produce more power. and that power movement relates to the movement. You can move quicker, you can get out the corner quicker, you can react to the faster paced balls and those kind of things.
And Satoshi, do you have your athletes train strength and power at the same time, or do you do like one for a phase and then the other one?
We typically work at the same time. It's a good mix of the strengths and power exercises together. However, depends on where you're at and what your weakness and strengths. And then if you don't have a base strengths to do power exercise, we're not gonna introduce the power exercises yet. But the power exercises and the simple exercise like jump ropes, everybody can do that. That's a power
Yeah.
exercise. You're doing
Mm,
repeated jumps anyway. So, but those are very low intensity exercise. So you can mix with those exercises easily. But when you're talking about higher intensity plyometrics type of exercises, and if you don't have a proper foundation of the strengths, and you introduce to the higher intensity plyometrics power exercise, that's not safe. So that's the only situation we're gonna separate the sessions and make sure players have a foundation to do other exercise.
Gotcha, Satoshi. And a little more specific question with the jump rope. You mentioned that that's a power exercise. Like, at what point in terms of, like, I guess, duration or reps, I guess, does it not become does it transition at some point from power workout to then endurance workout? Like, is there a cutoff with that reps amount?
Yes, talking about two different things, right? The pure power production is very one explosive power. Boom, you're producing so
Mhm.
much power, and that's a higher intensity one or two shot of the a strong explosive power. And if you can usually do that a longer time or period because you need so much energy and strength to do those explosive exercises. However, back to the tennis specific conditioning, tennis players need to move repeatedly and producing a power repeatedly, strong, fast serve, every other games, and you need to hit the power forehand and backhand, couple hundred to thousand shot in the match. So so-called power endurance you need to develop to your program. So low intensity power exercises such as jump rope exercises, you need to do that. You need to be able to do that type of exercises pretty long time as well as an interval base. You
Mhm.
don't need to do anything for very extended time. We're not training for the marathon runners. You don't have to run 2 hours in straight. However, you have to do short amount of exercise, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, little break, and then you got to do that repeatedly for a longer time or period, sometimes 2 hours, 3 hours matches. Those power endurance you need to develop on your tennis program for sure.
Gotcha. And in terms of so these categories, I was wondering if there's any particular type of workout protocol or that actually covers a lot of, multiple of them at the same time. Because I'm sure that obviously there's a lot of adult players, for example, that they're very busy and have limited time to train. So is there some sort of exercise, workout, whatever, that will do like multiple of these, and so it's like in terms of efficiency for club level players?
Yes, and then in fact, I got that question a lot because
Mhm.
I'm with national training center level top players. This is their job. They can spend two
Right.
hours of training and do this and that and lots of things throughout the day. But in the reality, for the most of the players, they only have maybe 30 minutes, and they want to practice for most of the time and then maximizing your time at the tennis club or wherever you're at. So I think one of the best option could be is like a circuit training exercises. You can
Mm.
do stations to station, and then cover lots of different area of the principles in here. You're doing a strength workout, make sure you're doing the full range of motion movement so you can actually work on your mobility part of it. You built in some sort of the footwork drills, but you are built into some movement patterns, so you're actually working on the movement coordination and the conditioning at the same time. So there is the way to mix those different things in the one session of the training session.
Got it, Satoshi. Yeah, so I guess to expound upon it, so it's like circuit training that sometimes you see like where I guess, one person's on there's a bike and then there's like I don't know, push-ups or something, and then
Yeah.
there's like a like ladder, like stuff like that, like just different ones, and you do them all quickly.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, got
absolutely,
it.
absolutely. And then it's if you have somebody can run those programs, that'd be great. But it's pretty simple. You know some basic exercise. You mentioned already like a push-ups, a body weight, lunges and squats. And if you have ladders or jump ropes, you can mix with those, and then just different stations. And if you have a teammates or somebody else to do together, you just like, okay, let's going through 15 seconds rotation or do 20 repetitions and go on to the next exercise. And those kind of circuit training will works out pretty well.
Very nice, very nice. Thanks, Satoshi. So I'm gonna just advance the slide
Sure.
by one, and then yeah, can you tell us about these particular exercises?
Yeah, so I just put some exercises I can think of exactly what you're talking about here. Some exercise and drills you can do multiple, cover the multiple principles in here, and then just identify some weakness, the common weakness for the tennis players have. And then in fact, these exercises, we just put the two articles together, one for the upper body and then another one for lower body, just to pick 7 exercises, and then, maximizing a tennis player's performance. In ITF Sports Science Journal, it's going to come up in the next couple months. But I
Mm,
just pulled out the picture from those articles. So the first one is elbow to hip scapular retractions. This will cover your strengths. It's one of the strengths, weakness. Sorry, the tennis players most of the time have on the back portion of the on the body, and the scapular region of the muscle is usually weaker, and then it's not mobile enough to do lots of upper body overhead exercises. So it's just a simple exercise. You try to squeeze the scap as much as possible, and then bring your arms up and down. So great strength training, great mobility exercise. It's gonna correct your posture, which is important things to creating a better ready position for the tennis players, and improve your scapular health. So this is one of the exercises. Pretty simple. You don't need anything. You just use your body weight, and then do this exercise as a warm up or cool down. It will benefit you.
very
Um,
nice.
Another one is 2 feet slide shuffle. We just name it this way. We're just talking about the ankle mobility and the flex and the strength exercises, and then we just try to come up to simulate something new, because everybody knows dorsiflexions and plantarflexions and eversion, inversion type of movement, and you might have done that before. But something simple. You can do on the tennis court or maybe on the sidewalk, just the both feet together. Like little like a salsa dance type of movement on the feet. And but it's fun, and then it's a coordination exercise too, and then you move sideways and heels and toes, and then great way to move your ankle joints and the strengths, and the ankle joint is stable. As you know, one of the common unfortunate injury happen on the tennis court is ankle sprains.
Yeah,
So this is the great way to prevent those type of injuries. That's why we put on here.
very nice, very nice. And then in terms of like sets and reps, any suggestions on these particular exercises?
Yeah, so you can do a couple sets. Any set's better than nothing. So one set
Sure.
of 10 to 20 repetitions, usually the range we recommend. But
Mm,
ideally, if you can do multiple sets, 2 to 3 sets of the repetition, 10 to 20 repetitions, that'd be great. And back to the circuit training, if you want to time it, you can do timing way too. You can do, let's say, as many as you can on 20 seconds, 30 seconds. That would work out as well.
gotcha, gotcha. And then is there like a particular tempo as well that you suggest, or does it like, I mean, does it matter too much?
It does. It does. You don't want to moving too fast. This type of strength exercises. Only exception for the 2 feet slide shuffle if you are having more challenging and coordination type of things and try to speed up, and if you can maintain the same type of movement patterns, that will be a potential of the progression of this exercise. But typically any strength flexibility training, you want to maintain a good slow tempo. You can maintain your technique.
Gotcha, gotcha. Excellent, excellent. Good stuff, Satoshi. So I'll advance the slide one
Yeah.
more, and then we see some other exercises here. So if you could talk us through these as well.
Yes. So the forearm pronation, supination, lots of exercise, very focused on the large muscle on the upper body, bench press, pull ups and push ups. You need to do that. But again, another common joint tennis players have on the risk of injury is the wrist and elbows. And these pronation, supination, simple exercise. If you have a light dumbbell like this picture, that'd be great. You don't have to. You actually use the tennis racket and then just grip it and
Mm,
just go rotation, and then slow. Yes, that's it. Perfect. And then make sure you work on the strength, forearm strength, range of motion, mobility, and at the same time you are working on stability on the wrist and elbows. So one of the it's a very small muscle. Tennis players tends to forget about to train these muscles. Uh, I think if you can add this type of exercise on your routine, this will benefit a lot for the lots of tennis players and then prevent lots of injuries. Next exercise on the doubles alley hops, one of the explosive movement patterns we are working on here. Tennis is lateral movement sports. So anytime we developing your movement patterns and explosiveness, you want to work on your lateral movement. So this will cover the principles of power. Of course, you need to have a good strength to start with, and you have to have a coordination to do landing on the 1 foot. You have to have good movement pattern skills and space awareness to do this exercise. So again, this is a good simple exercise. You can cover lots of different principles I was mentioning at the beginning. And then you can do this on tennis court, a part of your warm up, maybe finishing up with this at the end of practice or match. Any situations, if you can do this type of exercise, that'll help your tennis performance for sure.
very nice, very nice. And do you do like with the alley hops, like you do one foot sometimes and then 2 feet sometimes as well? Does that also help, or is it better to do just 1 foot?
Yeah, so that's good progression. Anytime you're doing the jumping explosive plyometrics, you're gonna start with a 2 feet base exercise. It's easier to balance and everything. However, if you're looking at the tennis movement patterns, most of the movements are finishing and starting on the 1 foot. So you need to do on the 1 foot alternate or 1 foot exercise. So you should be able to do this type of alternating foot or 1 foot exercise. Depends on how far you jump, of course. You need to develop the basics of the stability and balance before that. But yeah, most of the time we would like to do 1 foot start, 1 foot landing.
Yeah, that's a great point with the tennis specific exercises. Just like kind of thinking through, like sometimes if maybe you're told to do a particular exercise, maybe you do might want to think about, oh, do I actually do this movement on the court, and maybe just reevaluate. If it's not, then why are you doing that? To dig deeper. So, um, good stuff, Satoshi. Appreciate it. So I went to this next slide here. If you could talk about just yeah, this chart and the specific intervals for tennis.
Yeah, so this is exactly I was talking about the conditioning part of it and the interval training. This is just an example, one of the programs sample we use, make it a tennis specific possible. Once again, anybody going into the tennis specific conditioning drills, you need to have a base conditioning level to do any exercises. If you cannot fast-paced walk or jog for the 1 mile, you probably need to do that before doing anything. Most of a healthy individual, you should be able to comfortably, walk for cover about a mile. You don't have to run fast, but you should have those very basic cardiovascular level conditioning. And then if you're thinking about more tennis specifics, um, this is just a randomized numbers of each repetitions, similar to the tennis points. And some points are very short. If you hit one shot in ace and finishing couple seconds, if you
Mm.
are playing long rally points, you may take to finish 20 seconds. And you just don't know, right? Because that's the nature of tennis. So you just prepare for those randomized intervals, and this just creating a different type of a short points situation, anywhere between 5 seconds to 20 seconds. On each set you have a different number of that. You can set this on the timer, and there's lots of different apps you can do in this type of things now. You just setting up these numbers. If you have a coach with you and then time it, that's one way to do that. And every repetitions, let's say the first set you do an exercise 8 seconds and take 25 seconds off, just exactly same as the in between the point, and then go in the next exercise or next interval. And next one is 10 seconds and then 25 seconds off. 5 seconds, 25 seconds off. 12 seconds, 25 seconds off. And then you do 12 repetitions in here and take about 90 seconds off, same as the changeover, and then go into the next set, and then finish the last set. And then we put this on set of a 3 sets program here, and the total time about taking about 30 minutes, up to 30 minutes. So similar to actual tennis points play. If any match you play in tennis, it could be 3 hours, but actual playing time is about 25% to 30% of the actual match time. So just similar to that, mimic the actual tennis situation. You can do this interval training with just a simple cardiovascular training. If you have an exercise bike, do that on the bike, and then just do as fast as you can do for 8 seconds, 25 seconds off. Do 10 seconds, 25 seconds off. You can do that. You can build this into some sort of the interval training we're talking about. Set up the stations and then do a time on each lap, and then move on to the next stations. You can do similar practice sessions with like this. If you're somebody feeding your ball, you hit it, just feeding a ball this amount of time, and a short amount of rest. Point is, it's a randomized interval, very short, kind of intense training, and then you are taking a very short break, same as the tennis points, so your body get used to it.
Right. That's great stuff. So yeah, the point of this is like no matter what exercise you're doing or if you're playing tennis or something else, you just like it's pretty much maximum intensity replicating, how many seconds that you might be spending in each point. And so yeah, that's is that pretty
Right.
accurate?
Yep.
Okay, okay, very nice, very nice, cool, cool, good stuff. And would this work for like weight training too, or is that a little bit different? Like, say if you're doing like
Yeah,
pull-ups or something.
it could. You may need a little bit of adjustment. You
Hmm.
can, but for the weight training, if you're doing this type of a short amount of time, you may not getting the repetitions you need to develop the strength or whatever achieve your goal. So it may not work out very well with the strength training. But yeah, other than that, it should fits pretty well. Cardiovascular conditioning fits well for sure. We use that all the time.
Awesome, wonderful, wonderful. So let's see if there's any other questions. Okay, and then like the 90 seconds, is that kind of like, I guess, does that mimic like is that there to mimic like a
Yep.
changeover, or is it just
Yep.
okay?
Mimic the changeover. Yep.
Okay, okay, very nice, good stuff. Okay, cool. Well, I think that's probably it for the slides, right? Yeah, I think
Yep.
that's
That's the
it.
last slide.
So
Yeah.
I will take that off, and we do have some questions from the audience, which is always really fun. So
Oh, great.
let's see.
Actually, someone's
Yeah.
watching this.
Yeah. Yes, of course, Satoshi. Yeah, we got a decent audience here. Really good stuff. So Dave says, what are the thoughts for bands versus weight training for actual performance benefit?
Yes, both are good options. Um, there's a lots of different bands out there now, and you can do pretty heavy band exercise as well. You used to be like bands are more like a lower intensity exercise because you can't apply too much resistance to the body. And in weight training, of course, you can go up to a couple 100 pounds, and you can do lots of higher resistance training. So that was a two big difference. But now there's lots of different bands available. You can actually do pretty heavy workout with the bands. The biggest difference between the bands and the weights is bands, if you expand the bands, it's getting heavier, right? And that's the nature of the elasticity. So the force applied to your body is a little bit different than the weight training. And always free weights training like dumbbells and the barbells, even compared to the machines, it's a benefit of using free weights is it's free movements and it's similar to actual force production prior to your body. So for the functional training standpoint, if you have opportunity and if you can perform your exercise safely, free weights is probably the best option to do that. However, again, you need to have a good coordination, you need to have a good strength space, and you need to have a good understanding of weight training to do that in a safely manner. So the bands might be a little bit safer and introductory type of exercises. And then, like I mentioned, that used to be the bands, and then now still is. It's a lighter intensity exercises, such as like a shoulder band exercise, rotator cuff exercises, something you're working on the very small muscle groups. Bands might gonna work better on those exercises.
Good stuff. Thanks, Satoshi. Good question, Dave. Gordon always has fun questions. He says, "How fit for tennis can one get through just playing tennis?" Borg and Gerolitis just played for 5 hours a day. Vitas drinking Coca-Cola. They did pretty well. And the Aussies in 60s, 70s trained on beef, steak, eggs, and beer. They also had Hopman training, but pretty excellent. So, what do you think?
That's so true. And back in the 70s and 80s, and the game changed a lot now. And then it's the points are a little longer. Technology helps a lot too because it used to be it's just not it's not the same type of the physical metabolic demands if you compare to the 70s 80s to nowadays. So speaking of that, that's why players are taking care of body better, and then they get a shape, and then they're competing against higher, better athletic population of players nowadays, and they're playing longer too. They are now playing into like a 30s and sometimes 40s, and still in a good shape and playing. So that's the biggest difference, and that's why those traditional method of just playing tennis may not gonna work out. And then, like I said at the beginning, for the injury prevention standpoint, playing just tennis will create lots of imbalance on the body. So correcting those imbalance, uh, off-court training is necessary. The nutrition part of it, Coca-Cola, I mean, it's still players still do that because the caffeinated sugar drink, it's gonna wake you up and then give you a boost at a very short amount of time. So um, sometimes players still do that. They need the very immediate energy and kick. Is it recommended? Probably not. You probably don't want to be into that situation on the match play anyway. But the nutrition is interesting things. Uh, no matter what you do on the weight training, tennis training, if you don't eat enough, if you don't eat properly, getting enough nutrition, and if you don't sleep, and then if you don't recover from training the matches, it's nothing doesn't matter. It's training and practice, and that's not gonna work out. So it's to that point. It's paying attention for you, what you eat, what you drink, how you recover, how much you sleep is more important than actual training and practice.
Yeah, thanks for highlighting that, Satoshi. Definitely, people forget. And then also, when you don't do that stuff, then you can't train as well, and no energy. So, really good points there. So, Eric, it's an interesting one from Men's Health. Let's see what you think. 200 jumps on jump rope on both feet, then 400 on alternate foot, then follow up with 20 kettlebell skier swings. That's one set. Do that for 10 sets would maximize power and endurance. Got that training program from Men's Health magazine. You got to be careful for that, like you have to see, is it pertaining to tennis? So what do you think of that workout, Satoshi, for tennis?
That's a heck of a workout. That's a if somebody can do that, it must be a great shape. If
Mm,
not, you're probably not gonna finish the workout, or you're gonna get some seeing some injuries. So yeah, men's health. I don't have nothing against that, but you gotta be careful about where you're getting those information from, and then what's the target audience and the populations are. Physical fitness and training is always comes down to your current fitness level and your exercise background and the training history. So if you are good enough to do this type of workout, yes, that's it's probably going to help out to even better shape, or getting work on the power endurance, what we're talking about tennis players. This is very extreme. It's probably gonna most of the situation. This is gonna be too much for the most of the tennis players. So you just need to know where you're at, what do you need, and then modify the exercises. Each exercise is not a bad thing. I mean, jump rope, we use that. We use kettlebell swings, ski swings.
right.
We use that. So it depends on how much and how we mixing up and creating a program. That's the bottom line points here.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Sounds like it'll help like a certain area of like you said, the power endurance, but it just seems like it's doesn't seem to mesh with like the tennis specific intervals, but it still could have utility. But like you said, I mean, 10 sets of this is like that's a lot.
It
So
is a lot.
yeah, Eric, I'm sure you're really fit, so that's good. That's good. Let's see what else we got. Brenda, what is the best way to balance working out and playing tennis for over 55 players? I play 5 days a week and struggle to fit workouts in. Is it okay to work out 2 days, play tennis 5 days, and not take a rest day?
Okay. No, I mean, depends on how you feel, basically. 2 days of workouts, if you're talking about the weight training workout on for those 2 days, 2 days a week is not, it's pretty good actually. And then you're taking the enough recovery time in between from those workouts. And then in between the days, you're playing tennis, which is still fine. And then, like you mentioned here, this is gonna create the 7 days a week program. You don't have any day off. But if you it's the workload is the how much you're building up, and then you are how much you're doing it in that day. So if you are good enough shape to continue to do building up the workload, about a lots of workload, and your body is capable to do that, that will be fine. But ideally, yes, you probably want to take a day off on the week, and if you can, I know the schedule is the biggest issue, but if you do, one day play tennis and then work out, and that way you're gonna make a 6 days playing and training routine on this situation. That probably better.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, that's a great idea. Very excellent. Let's see here. Now, Neil, following up on Brenda's question, if I play 4 days a week, do I need to do plyometrics or power workouts on my days off the court?
Okay. Do do you need to do plyometrics or power workout? That's I don't know. I need to know you better to prescribe
Right.
the exercises. However, in a normal situation, that's a pretty popular workout routines. If you in off days, your body is a little bit fresher. If you don't need the recovery too much, and doing explosive power plyometrics workout in between the days, that could work out. Again, at the same time, you need to be smart about how your body feeling on that day. If you have like a 3 hours tough match and then you try to do the plyometrics next day, that's probably not going to work out either.
Yeah, yeah, that's gonna be tough. And then Neil just said I'm 55 plus. And then another follow up: jump rope okay on off days?
Yeah, jump rope is again, it's a very low intensity plyometrics exercise, and then it's just nothing long, nothing different than you are like doing the light jogging every day. So, but again, if you're doing like 1,000 a day in jump rope, that's different. And so, the answer to this question is it's okay to do it on an off day, but you just need to be smart about how much you're doing it. And a 50 plus, 55 plus is not that old. You'll be fine.
That's right. That's right.
But age, chronological age is chronological age, right? So it's again, it's depends on your current situation and training status, and then your background of training history. That's the biggest question. Even if you're 20 years old and never done that anything before, yeah, you gotta start slow. If you're 55 years old, you've been working out last 20 years, you be in good shape. You can probably do pretty good workout routines.
Nice, nice. Well, that's very nice of you to say that 55 plus is not that old, Satoshi, since you're 27. So that's really, really nice of you. Thank you. um, let's see what else we got. Christopher, exercise isn't a cure for a poor diet. Exactly what Satoshi was saying. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Def-
that.
yes, yes. Eric, if I have to double up tennis and workout on the same day, is it better to lift before or after playing?
And the simple answer for that, it's better off before praying, just because the weightlifting requires a little more strength and energy, and in doing the correct way and a good technique. So it's better off doing before tennis. However, that will create some muscular fatigue going into the tennis. So you may not feel 100% and it may not play well as usually you play. So you just need to be aware of that situation.
Yeah, makes sense, Satoshi. So, what a question from myself is, in considering again when we go back to the strength, power, mobility, movement, conditioning, coordination, I guess do you have any tips? I think ideally, obviously, we should seek a tennis fitness expert who can and help you with this stuff, like Satoshi. Although I know Satoshi's too busy with the elite American players, but how should we be thinking of, or any tips that you can give us to structure a weekly workout in integrating these different principles or aspects of working out into our fitness routine?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think we had that template before. But let's say
Yeah.
if you're playing like 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, maybe 6 days a week, and then ideally you have a one day off, maybe another day of a half day or easier day, and then you if you can do two session of strength and power type of sessions a week, and 2 sessions of some sort of the conditioning movement sessions. Those two are mix pretty well. So that will create the balanced workout to cover most of the principle we're talking about. That just assuming you are doing the warm up and cool down routine every day, because that's another time you can use for mobility exercise, injury prevention exercises, and those other things you need to take care of it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Good stuff. So definitely, we still have a few more minutes for questions, everybody. So feel free to submit. But I'll ask one more question for now, which is, what do you think like the biggest mistakes that players make? Because like there's definitely a lot of very motivated adult players, let's say club level players, that they know like, oh, I want to get fit for tennis, like I'm dedicated, whatever. But then they're then doing their own workout stuff, and then but they're obviously like not optimizing. So what are a couple mistakes that you see that these sorts of players are making in their trying to train off the court?
One of the common mistake I always see in this situation is just doing too much too soon. You,
Hmm.
again, your current fitness status and then your training history of last at least couple months or so, that will decide how much you can do. And you get, hopefully everybody motivated after this call today, and then yeah, I want to do this, and then start doing that men's health workout tomorrow.
Oh.
You're probably not gonna able to move next day, and then most likely you're gonna stop working out after that. So you gotta start slow and knowing what your current status is, and then start slow, and then building up the workload, and then you can consistently do workout, and then do for longer term.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Satoshi, like I mentioned, you work with player development there, with strength and conditioning, you're the head honcho there. So I just wonder, maybe it'll be interesting for the audience to kind of hear just a little bit about like what you're doing like day to day over there.
Sure. So we have any given days about average of 20 to 30 players coming through here. We got as young as 12, 13 years old junior players to all the way up to the professional players who are in the tour level players. So it's a good mix, and depends on they playing tournament next week or this is a training block. That's dictate their schedule a lot. But normal days, we start with in the morning some good warm up routines. We have a great athletic medicine team, physios. They can do some athletic medicine side of the work at the beginning of the day. If somebody needs to loosen up the specific joints and those kind of things. So we spend good like at least 30 minutes to maybe an hour, 90 minutes of some sort of the preparation work before they're going on the court. That's myself and our staff, athletic medicine staff helps out. And when they go into the tennis court, they usually have a morning practice, and we try to watch practice as much as we can. That's the time we can communicate with national coaches. Are they doing well? What they need to work on, and what they, those kind of conversation happening on court a lot. Afternoon, kind of same routine, little bit shorter version of the warm up prep work, because their bodies already loosened from their morning practice. Most of them are playing again in tennis, hour and a half to 2 hours. And after that, we usually have a big strength and conditioning session, either lifting or conditioning sessions, movement sessions, whatever we schedule for that day, and then finishing up with good recovery stretching session, or sometimes they need to see the physios to do some treatment. So that's kind of daily routine we have. Lots of time on the in the weight rooms and in fitness sessions for sure, because we are dealing with multiple different groups. They're coming in kind of different schedule. So this group is coming in, and next group's coming in, and those kind of things. So yeah, that's kind of what we do day to day basis in here in the National Training Center.
Nice, nice. Very involved and really hugely important for the players for their health and injury prevention and progress in the sport. So that's really cool. Oh, we have another comment here. Tom, hi, I'm an orthopedic surgeon, sports medicine specialist, playing tennis at the senior level, 70 and above. It just amazes me for the past 40 years watching people not warm up. Le first on in serve BS. I don't know. Maybe BS stands for something we know anyway, but yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I imagine like you all are so diligent in USTA that I'm sure like everyone is warming up, but definitely like with the USTA like league matches that I play in, or sometimes even tournaments, it's just like you just arrive and then you go on the court, and like the most warm up you get is just like, I mean, you just your warm up is the hitting, like you're not doing the dynamic warm up routines and stuff, but I try to make it a point to do that, at least a little bit, even if I'm like running late or something. But um, yeah, yeah. I mean, have you seen that, Satoshi, at all? Like players that they're not warming up and they jump on the court, then they play like crap or they get injured.
It become less and less.
Yeah.
I think our this type of opportunity to educating general public to the coaches and players helps out. But used to be, yeah, when I started 15, 16 years ago with USTA, and then top junior or professional players coming in, and they're like, I don't usually do anything, and then just stop hitting tennis ball and those kind of things. And it's very hard to change those habits. And then they're not going to realize that importance of warm up and then all the prep work until they actually got injured. So that's unfortunate, but like I said, it's I think we are doing pretty good job to educating, and then hopefully um, start seeing more recreational players also doing the proper workout, and then warm up sessions and cool down sessions, and taking care of their body, and they can play longer without any injuries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, good to see the progression with everyone. Tom, good session. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, most definitely. All Satoshi. And Satoshi, is there any like website or like profile or something, social media? I know you're heavily on TikTok. No, I'm kidding. um, so like any sites or web profiles you want people to check out?
Yeah, so USDA Player Development website, we're doing the major upgrading this year. So I would like to say, hopefully by the end of this year, we have a newer look player development website, and the strengths and conditioning section. We have updated a few things. If you search on the USDA player development or USDA player development strengths and conditioning, start showing up some resources there. But it's very hard to navigate the website right now. So, but like I said, hopefully by the end of this year, we're gonna have a brand new look, and then more information in there.
Nice. And I will pop that link in the chat right now. So as Satoshi mentioned, you can still obviously still have some good resources here.
Yeah.
Like yeah, warm up and conditioning plans and development drills. So that's awesome. Biomechanic fundamentals, that's great. But yeah, it'll look like even better soon. So good stuff. Good stuff. Great, Satoshi. Well, I guess is there any last words of wisdom that you can leave us in regards to helping improve our tennis fitness?
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's taking care of your body will not only improve your tennis performance, it's injury prevention, and if you are injury free, you can play tennis longer. And myself as a tennis player, and tennis is a great sport, so you can play for forever, for a long time, and then play with anybody else. So hopefully everybody will taking care of the body, and then no injuries, and then play longer.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, appreciate that. And yeah, to the injuries point, if you all want to check out Dr. Mark Kovacs' session on injury prevention, that would be a good one too. But Satoshi, thank you so much for your time, especially on a weekend. So it's great to see you, and yeah, hopefully we can connect again sooner than a year, and yeah, hopefully I'll see you sometime at the in Orlando or maybe at a tournament or something. But want to thank you again for your time and everybody for watching and everything. So yeah, appreciate it, and then hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, thank you again.
Appreciate it. Thanks.